Welcome back to some more MX versus ATV Reflex. We're checking out another custom track, not just one, we're gonna check out two, so the video is a bit longer. I'm doing a post commentary. What I was gonna do, I think what I might start doing, some people have mentioned it, I used to do a ton of live commentaries on the channel, and then I kind of got away from it because it was more, you know, we kind of talk about the track, but there might have been something in specific I wanted to talk about. So you had some gameplay basically to preoccupy your eyes while I was talking about something, and if it was something for discussion, you know, you guys could comment back to me and let me know what your thoughts were. And with this one, when the videos are shorter, it's not really that big a deal, but this video is going to be quite a bit longer because what I want to do with YouTube, I think it's important that you're evolving with the times. YouTube changes, and I know for people that watch, maybe they don't, you know, maybe you don't really care. Maybe it doesn't matter to you as long as there's videos and they're interesting in something that you connect with. That's all that matters to you. Great, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make videos that you want to connect with and see and watch, and maybe things that you haven't seen or can't play if you don't have PC, for instance, with Reflex custom tracks. But I think it's important to change with the times because YouTube's always changing, and so to evolve your channel and not just keep doing the same thing, getting stuck in the same rut and never growing, I guess is what I want to say. Not like channel growing, but just growing as a creator in your content and how you do things. If I go back someday, one of these days, I'm gonna have to do a reaction video to one of my first videos. Maybe not my first one, but I know Reflex and Untamed were one of the first things that I ever really played on the channel. And it's really cringy. I don't know, people always were telling me, oh, you know, it's a good video. I think people are just being nice because if you go back, a lot of people, unless they've had a channel and then started another one, their first videos are really cringy. So someday maybe I'll try to react to one of my first Reflex videos or something like that. But if you go back and look at those and then come to this, I think we've come a long way. So what I want to do is have this set up to where we're doing 2 custom tracks per video. The videos will be longer, and I know like average watch time on the channel is only like 4 or 5 minutes. It's super short, no matter how long the video is. So basically, I've said this before, if I have a 1-minute video, the average view time for that video is like 50% of the video, maybe 60%. So 30 seconds if it's 1 minute. If it's 10 minutes, it's like 4 or 5 minutes. It's kind of based on how long it is. So I'm guessing if this is a 19-20 minute video, it's pretty long, and I know a lot of people don't have that much time in a day, and so I know you have a choice. There's a YouTuber that I watch, and he says something, and I think it's a really good quote. He didn't get it. I think he said he saw it on a car wash, saying that we know you have a choice, and so thank you for choosing us. I think that was on like a car wash or something, and he mentions that at the beginning of a lot of his videos. So that's not my quote. I didn't get it, but I like how that sounds because it's true. You have a choice, and so I appreciate that. You know, your choice is to be here checking this video out. But anyways, 2 videos, and today it's going to be by the same guy. This track is by Nick DeLion. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Nick DeLion. It is called Meadow City. Meadow City. Not one of his newest tracks, but to me, I don't play a lot of these custom tracks, so it feels new to me. So Meadow City by Nick DeLion, and it's awesome. I have not played a track from him that I do not like. We have only done one track by him on the channel, which I believe was Avant-Garde SX, maybe? Really sweet supercross track. A lot of big jumps, stuff like that. If you want to see it, go back in the playlist. We have that. But this track is kind of similar to one, I think it was called Judd MX. I might be wrong on that. I don't have it on paper or anything. But we did it on a live stream, and a few people, you know, some people came and saw that. We might do a video with it eventually for the people that couldn't be there. But this track reminds me a lot of that. And a lot of these creators have their own style. You know, MX Warlord is a prime example. He makes some of the sickest, most insane, huge jumps flat out. Don't have to do anything besides hit it as fast as you can. Fantasy type tracks. Some of my absolute favorite. They're still my favorite ones to play. Because it's a game. I like the more realistic ones, and this one is a bit more realistic. I mean, the scaling, some of these jumps are kind of big, but it makes more sense. It seems more believable compared to like an MX Warlord. I love them both the same. They just have their own style. And you know, if you gave me a track from MX Warlord, didn't tell me who it's from, unless he totally changed it up, I would know it was from him. And I would love it. I love all his tracks. Same with Nick DeLion to some degree. A lot of his tracks are so rough. Just kind of like the way he makes them. I mean, a lot of times we're doing 5 laps here, but a lot of times if I'm just playing the track, I'll do 3 laps. So Reflex has terrain deformation, and after 3 laps by yourself, it's kind of hard to tell because, you know, the track's not going to really tear up that much while you're doing it. But if we take, for instance, C4 Detonator makes this sand track, which is still one of my favorite ones to race people on. That track, after a few laps with just 2 or 3 people on it, gets rough. I mean, it's rough already the way he made it, but the way the terrain deforms, it's insane. And I don't know if it's with the way Nick DeLion makes his tracks. I don't know if it's because the way the terrain deforms. It's the way he makes them. You're landing into these huge braking acceleration bumps. You're coming out of corners, turning through the corners with massive, massive braking acceleration bumps, which makes it really, really difficult. And I think that's, for me, that's kind of his style, how rough he makes the tracks. You know, if you look at the stock tracks, I don't know if the creators ever really even intended that. I mean, they intended the tracks to get rough after a time because the track breaks up and breaks down. But none of the tracks in the original game have these huge, rough braking bumps and acceleration bumps everywhere. So when you do it, it's almost like, wow, it feels like we're almost breaking the game doing it. But it works. It works really well, and he does such a great job with it. And I know there's other creators that do it too, but I mean, that's kind of, from the guys that I play a lot of tracks from, that's one thing that I think of when I think of what Nick DeLion makes with these tracks. And this one's awesome. It's not, I think I said this already, it's not one of his newest ones, but it's not his oldest one either. He has a new one, which we might do eventually, called China River, I think. That track is rough, and I feel like he always kind of had this style, but the more he keeps doing it, the more it's prevalent, the more you're seeing it, the more it's obvious how rough these tracks are. And I kind of already mentioned it, but I'll mention it again. It just seems a little more believable. I mean, a lot of the jumps he's doing are really, really big. And right here, for instance, here's this kind of double, triple is kind of a triple, but you're landing into that. And the next track we're going to do is also by Nick DeLion. It's, I forget what it's called. I'll take a peek here before we get there. But that one, I think, is newer. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say. It's newer or older than this one was. And that one, these ones, you're just kind of, at least for me, I was just giving it full throttle around most everything and kind of leaning back to try and not crash as much with the braking bumps. You know, when you're going through the corners, a lot of times that back end starts to swap around and, you know, you go down pretty easy. But the next one we're going to check out took a little more throttle control, and I guess you could change that with the way you set your bike up. I always say that I never really touch my bike setup. I leave it the same, which is true. I don't remember the last time that I actually changed my bike setup. But with the second track we're going to get into here, it does take a little more throttle control, at least with the way I have the bike set up compared to this one. But I mean, the environment, it's good. I'm happy with it. That inside line does not work for me either. I don't know. If someone plays this track, if that inside line works for you, maybe you have to have a little more acceleration. I think I was pretty even across the board. And through this section, I mean, sometimes I was jumping through it, sometimes I was not jumping through it. But awesome track overall. Definitely worth a download. There's a section I'll kind of show you when we come to it where there's some water and it goes down. I struggled with it. I have C4 Detonator as a friend on Steam, and I don't know the first thing about making tracks, so I'm not gonna say for sure that I know this, but like here going through this spot, it's really not that bad. I mean, it's rough and there's some water, but you feel it, but in a normal way. There's a spot here coming after the finish line somewhere where I struggle to hit this double. Maybe it's a triple, I don't remember, because it feels like the track itself is just really pulling on the bike. So I feel like when he built the track, it was kind of like that, and then we crashed. It was that one, kind of a little bit of throttle control, but for the most part, it's just kind of hold it wide open on this one and hang on because it's rough. But I was saying that the China River, guys, you should go check that out. We might do a sneak peek on that one eventually. Very, very, very rough. A little, still kind of that mix between realistic and too much. And I was kind of having a little trouble getting over this the first couple times I was riding it, but then we kind of figured it out. Now, let's see if we can find that spot where I was talking about. It's coming up here. We're going to go around this sweeper, kind of. Not really an off-camber. Well, a little bit of an off-camber because it's kind of turning away from you. We're going to go over this table. This spot right here, which we'll you can't really see it anyways. Right there, where we kind of spawn back in. It really drags on you, and I was struggling to get over this double, and I think you could have seen that throughout the video. I don't know. I didn't really notice it anywhere else, but that spot in particular was kind of rough. I didn't really take an inside line ever there because I felt like carrying your speed through this, when it's really rough, you want to carry your speed. It feels like you're basically riding a set of whoops the entire track. Really gnarly, nasty, awesome track, and he did a great job with it. This one was awesome. If I had to choose out of the two, I never took... Did I take... No, I did take the inside line there. You could see it, and I could not double it. On top of the fact that there was some water there, it was a bit muddy. I don't know if that's possible. Maybe that inside line's just kind of there to have it, but I feel like it's kind of one line for me. I mean, I kind of like to stick to the outside, otherwise I can't really get around some of these tracks he makes, but awesome job. He did a great job. Definitely go give it a download. And this one, as well as Judd MX, they're very similar. So if you can kind of ride around on one, you can you'll have a good idea of what this one's like, because it's, I don't know, it's pretty much the same. So what's going to happen is we're going to finish this, and then we are going to cut straight into track number 2. I'm going to have to take a peek and see what it was called, but it's also by Nick the Lion. Now, not all the tracks, if we do two tracks per video, will be by the same guy, but it just worked out because a lot of his tracks, they run really good for me. They're smooth, they look good, and I really like playing on them. So we're going to jump over to the next track here as soon as we go across the finish line. All right, so we're jumping right into this. This is called Prim Big Rock MX. Prime, it's spelled different, but Prime Big Rock MX. This track was a lot of fun. It didn't feel like any of the other ones as far as the Judd MX or the City Meadow. It just felt different. Now, when I did the other one, I had ran a few races there just because, I don't know, when we do gameplay like this, I want it to be kind of fun to watch. I've mentioned this before, I kind of repeat myself to some degree. When you're always crashing, it's like, geez, you know, I don't like watching it, so I assume a lot of other people don't really want to see that either. It's not that I have to look great, I just want it to be a solid lap so you can get an idea of what the track looks like. You know, if you're always crashing, you know, what are you getting? Now, I did say this in the earlier part of this video. This track is a little different. It's rough, but maybe not quite as rough as a typical Nick the Lion track is. Did I say the name of it? I'm pretty sure I did. Prim Big Rock MX. Prime Big Rock MX. This section right here, kind of tripling into this. I don't know if that was a triple or a double. And then doubling out. The first time I raced this, which I did run one race here, and then this triple as well. There's a lot to talk about. This triple was really tough, but we'll get to that in a second. That double section or triple double section, timing that's really hard because it's very easy to overjump it and it's very easy to underjump it. It's like if you throw even a little whip glitch, it's too much, but if you don't throw a little bit, it's not enough. And so the first race that I was doing, I just was always messing that up constantly. Just constantly messing it up, and it was really frustrating. So I wanted to spend a little time on the track to get it, and it takes time to memorize it. You know, it just takes a little time to memorize it. So that's why I like to run a race here. This line was my favorite because if I didn't take this line, I had a hard time kind of jumping off into that double. This triple was super easy to get and over jump, and it works nice because it has that little wall there. It kind of hooks you enough to turn the bike into the next one. So that little S turn works really well. This section was interesting. I mean, it's clearly a double. It feels like a wall. But a lot of times when I doubled off that, I got reflex. And then I had trouble making this double. And then this one, is this a double or a table? It's just a really big table. Really kind of, I had struggles doing that one because I'd overjump it. That one was easy to overjump. This double here was pretty easy. I don't see how you would triple that. Maybe someone that's really good, but I don't see someone tripling that. And then we're back to this section. Let's see what this was. Was this a triple or? This is basically a double, really big double. See, we actually come up short there. I think I do that a couple times. It just, I don't know. I had trouble the way, not even the bike setup. It's not like it was easy. It's just, it took some throttle control, which was a lot of fun. And then this triple I was talking about, we got it last time and this time, but I think that's it. The lip, there's like no lip on it. It's very, very rounded at the top, so you're not getting a lot of lift. It was difficult. This triple wasn't. I kind of changed the lineup eventually and go to the inside, and it worked a lot better. And you can tell he kind of, A lot of creators do that where, you know, if you take the outside, you can carry so much speed. So to even it out, they put, you know, some braking bumps, I guess. It seems more like acceleration bumps. They put those in just to make it a little more fair, to encourage more inside lines. Now, a couple tracks that I've done inside lines, a lot of times if it doesn't stop you from clearing things, is the way to go. It's definitely the way to go. But there we kind of bump off that side, hit this one, and then you can double off of it into this. Kind of messed it up. Wasn't exactly how I would have liked to have done it, but you can kind of get the idea. And the track's so curvy and turny. A lot of his tracks are like that. I mean, besides that Avant-Garde Supercross was more of a typical Supercross, just some really big jumps. A lot of these outdoor ones are, you kind of got to ride them. You got to ride them and figure it out. Otherwise, you're kind of jumping off the track a lot. But that's another thing with his style, I think, where it's in between. It's not too arcadey and fantasy, but it's not too realistic. It's kind of in between. And I mean, if he's trying to do a replica, did we screw this up again? Kind of. If he's doing a replica, I mean, I'm assuming it's a little bit hard to do that because with Reflex, the way things scale, it's just, you know, whatever. And I know it. I think it's him that has at least one replica, and I don't know if I've wrote it. I don't think it was this one. If it is this one, then I'm wrong, but I like his mix because I like the whole, I just like using MX Warlord as an example because I love his tracks and they're so video game type, you know what I mean? I love those kind of tracks because at the end of the day, it is a video game, guys, and I like video games for video games, so I like hitting these huge lines. And with Nick the Lion's tracks, you have these really big lines. Like, this is a huge line, but yet the way it breaks up, the way the track is built as far as being rough and everything, and nationals and kind of having this scenery with it, it feels like a realistic track. So it's in between, and that's another one of his, I don't know if traits is the right word to use, kind of traits that he does. It's like realistic, but the jumps can get really, 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 really big sometimes. And I know there's other tracks. That Avant-Garde Supercross was really well done, more of a classic Supercross, but it had some huge jumps. This jump is just huge tables. Huge tables. So you get kind of the best of both worlds. And I know there's a ton of people out there, like the movement for reflexes to be more realistic. We want replicas, blah, 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 blah. I'm just happy with whatever they want to make. You know, they take the time to make it, so I'm happy to play on it no matter what it is. If it's realistic, I'm happy. If it's arcade, fantasy, I'm happy. If it's a mix like this, it's the best of both worlds. There we hit it just right. And then you kind of have to let off for this double or you can jump into that corner too far and crash. And like I said, I don't think we get this again. I mean, if you were to throw a little baby whip glitch over that, maybe. Now here I think we start scooting to the inside line here, which works really well. We almost didn't get it. Still plenty of speed to get over that triple. This section's kind of rough, and I don't see any reason to go outside there because you'd end up hopping over that middle line anyways, and then this was really easy. And I think here before the finish line there's a couple lines, but it just, I don't know, you know, if we're racing, maybe I try to switch the lines up a little bit, but as far as just wanting to be able to hit these, I don't know if I'd be able to hit them from the inside. And here I don't think taking the inside, I think there's an inside line of that yet. I don't know if I'd get off that step down double, so that's kind of why we're doing what we're doing. But I hope this is something you guys like. I hope you like this format. I guess the videos are longer, and I know a lot of people maybe don't have 20 minutes, or they do, but you don't want to waste all 20 minutes on just my channel here. You want to watch other channels. So let me know in the comments if you got this far. Hopefully you got this far. Let me know in the comments if this format is okay with you, if it works. Not every time will it be from the same guy. I mean, we did 2 Nick the Lion tracks. Maybe next time we do a C4 and Red Rider, or a C4 and a MX Warlord. It won't always be from the same guy, but it just worked really good because I haven't played a lot of Nick the Lion's tracks and I really enjoyed. Or maybe next time we'll just come back with 2 more Nick the Lions because I'm really enjoying it, and he has actually quite a few tracks. So if you have a second, let me know in the comments if you like this format, and I will stick with it. I'll probably try it a couple times just see how it goes, and we'll go from there. Probably, maybe next time we'll also try and get some Supercross. I know when I was asking people for suggestions, a lot of people were saying Supercross. We'll just kind of have to see how things go. But thank you so much for the support on this channel. It really means a lot. Again, if you can, if you have time, if you have a second, let me know if this format works for you, and maybe I'll try and do some live commentaries with it too. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support, and until the next video, take it easy.